yeah, as I was saying, um, it's just a real kind of head fuck, really, and that's kind of the whole point of the twin flame, to be honest, to mess with your paradigms and mess with the paradigms of the collective. Um, and you know, it is what it is. And as I said, I want to just talk quickly more as I was kind of putting this concept of about the nature of twin flames, and to get to the place of not expecting things from them and not expecting a specific nature of a dynamic from them. Especially you've got a question as well, like what place within you and what place within them that um, expectation actually comes from. Not to say that the expectation, because they do say that when you let something go, that's when it comes to you. But also, you know, if you're if you're kind of sort of hell bent on a specific dynamic with a twin, that it's not supposed to be. For example, because I'm the last person in the world that wants to be pitied. It's like if you don't want a specific dynamic with me, a friendship, a companionship level, a relationship, whatever, I'd like to know. I'm not gonna like chase anyone, and if it's when people like kind of like sort of what's the word make you think that they might, like when they're a twin, when there's that sort of off and on kind of thing, you may have had relations with them or whatever. It's a whole load of stuff that can happen with twins. um I'm talking not in familial relationships, obviously, unless there's like some real abuse going on there, which is not great. Don't want to be doing that. But as I say, it's about accepting that not only you can't control the relationship and not projecting that need for control onto a twin. As I said, for example, if you're a masculine, which I am, and they're a feminine, but you've got all this broken feminine wounding, to not project that upon twin, because of the fact they're a feminine, for example, that's not going to be helpful. But also to, yeah, I think that's basically everything, to be honest. But yeah, just to really come to the point of like, I can't control them. I can control the spiritual healing I do, but I have actually absolutely no control over them. And also, to be honest with you, the need for control and that deep desire to connect with them, though they are part of your soul, you can also know that you are also one consciousness and you're always connected to them. So, but that pain is going to be there whether they're physically there or not. I've seen this happen with other twins actually that I've seen on the internet. You can be in physical contact with your twin, they can be right next to you, and they can think that they've got all the tools that they want to make things nice for you. They can be bringing you hot water bottles and bloody chicken soup all day long. But at the end of the day, if you've got that pain, that's a reflection of where you need to heal and you need to figure out what that wound is. Mirror exercise can be really helpful for that. But if you've got that pain there physically, because it can be physically painful, and this is what I'm kind of going through and what I have gone through for long periods actually. It can be very physically painful, actually, emotionally as well, but genuinely physically as well. And it can just be a symptom of past life trauma, and things like that have to be faced and have to be processed properly. They have to be understood in order to transcend them. And who knows, hopefully you think that if you do all the spiritual work that your twin will want to contact you in the physical. It may happen, it may not happen. But I'm telling you now that being out of contact with my twin now for, well, in the physical, as in like I've had a phone conversation with them over the last year, which wasn't nice. Um, and I've sort of semi had contact through third party situations within the last year, but being physically, and I have technically been in the same room as them, but I didn't see them over the last year. But not having that sort of relation, shall I say, within like verbal, I'm just going to talk to you kind of situation socially because I want to, sort of thing. I just saw 47 on the timer, which means things get better. um, in a good while, I will tell you that that feeling of sort of ache for your twin and ache for that healing, which is also what it is. It is for your twin, but it's also the need for healing. How much better will your twin flame connection be should they decide to contact you again when you've done the spiritual work, if you've actually healed things that have broken you and are making you uncomfortable and making you unable for them to connect with you because you're so touchy because of all these wounds you have? You know, how much better and possible will it be when things happen? And I do believe in an end goal, you know, and I'm not being like, oh, just completely, you know, don't bother with your twin anymore, it's just a joke, it's all a lie, don't bother. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever, but I think you have to give yourself a bit of time to be like, I have always got God, I'm always in contact with my twin because we are the same soul, even if we're not in the 3D. And I'm not saying, and I don't believe in sitting around all day every day waiting for them, thinking, you know, that why aren't they here? I think it's at the end of the day, your brain's a functional thing, and I'm not saying to gaslight yourself into saying that it's something it's not, that it's some karmic relationship that you need to get over. I don't believe in that at all. I don't believe that there is not chance for a romantic reunion, but I also think that there is area to say that as long as you know you're connected to God always, you're connected to your twin always, and that pain that's coming up, okay, is going to be a symptom of unhealed trauma, past life, present life, that needs to be addressed and that needs to be healed and processed through in order to transcend it. And also that, you know, it's going to be dysfunctional if you're trying to force a union or a reunion with them. It's not the time for. It's going to get abusive potentially, and it's going to be dysfunctional at a very minimum. And that's not going to be healthy for anyone, you know. And it's you've got to do the work first to the point where you're not going to be abusive or taking abuse from your twin. And you know, that's tricky to get to, especially when there's been abuse. And as I say, your twin will literally want to be in contact with you and want to be in union with you, so they will literally try their very hardest to take blame for things that aren't their fault, so you feel more comfortable. They will, because of their own wounds, because of the fact that even if they haven't got wounds in that area, they know it's going to help you, so that's what they're going to do. And all that stuff's already going to be in place. And as I say, this is something else that I've got to recently, is that will is only so powerful. You know, will can be broken in a millisecond because of something tiny. So you can have all the will in 1 second to have this great mass with them and be as delicate as you can with them and as kind to them as you can, even though they're bringing up all these triggers for you. But if they say the wrong thing, the chances are you're going to flip your shit because you're not going to be able to cope because of all the triggers. And then what you're going to do, you're going to just force a separation, and then you're going to damage. And I think this is what's actually happened with my twin, is that we've damaged each other so much because I was in a place where I was very what's the word? Had very low standards. I'd had a lot of bad stuff happen. Didn't really have a great deal of standards. Very free spirited. I'm free spirited now, but just had very low standards. And I feel like they knew that I wanted to have contact with them, so they would have contact with me through small periods, but it'd always end in argument. And that was not functional, and it broke us both down. And at the end of the day, as much as some people are more chaotic than others, the more regression I do into the origins of where I would have originated with my twin and what I believe to be the situation with my twin, I don't believe that. I believe that some of the stuff that I thought was them was actually them mirroring stuff to me that I needed to heal, or the stuff that I needed to be aware of and stuff like that about other people, and it wasn't necessarily them. But even if it was them, you know, that's not. It's just like you have to keep the focus on yourself, I feel like, and it's fine. I think it's fine to express like what's actually making you in pain. Like that's going to be helpful. You know, maybe I should do some videos about that, about me actually processing my own issues with my twin on this channel, because it might be helpful for someone. Because I do believe that, you know, if you fully extend and express your issue, you're going to find the root of it, and you're going to find like what actually is the reason that you're in such pain in that place. But the only thing is, if it's like a past life trauma, then maybe it's more of a regression situation that I can either record or I can do it on my own. It might not be very interesting to watch, I'm not sure, unless I like narrate it. But you know, that's how you find the root of it. Yeah, it's very much focused. You have to be in union with God to be in union with your twin. And as I say, don't beat yourself up for not having all of the will to be able to end your separation with your twin if that's what you want to be doing, because it's not going to be in divine timing, because if it was, it'd be happening. And there'll be reasons to why you're not in union at the moment, your mission or whatever. There'll be things that have to happen outside of your union first, if there is going to be a union, that need to either be healed. Because the thing is, if you're with your twin, the brilliant thing about the twins is if you do get into union and you've still got a few issues, because issues do still come up when you're in union with them, that you may find that the outcome of those, like you'll still be able to heal your trauma even though you're in union with them, especially if it's functional enough. If it's not functional enough, then you're just going to be abusive to each other, because you're not going to be able to navigate that in a good enough way. So yeah, don't beat yourself up about the lack of will and not being able to have a reunion with them, because it's not the right time, and it's hard to just accept, or it's just not the right time. But the fact is, there is a goal of, once you do all the spiritual work, you can come into union, you can be healed enough to have a union with them, for them to willfully come into union with you, and to allow the nature of that to unfold however it's supposed to, because it's within divine design, and they will meet the needs that you have of them through that dynamic, and they will meet the needs of you through their desire. And it's not about forcing it into some nature that it's not, because that's not going to be functional, and it's not going to be maintainable, and all it's going to do is you're going to think they're a psycho, and they're going to call you a psycho, and that's just not going to be healthy either. So I'd say that was a lot, and hopefully I can upload that. So thanks for listening.